Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome back to my channel. And I hope you are all having a wonderful day. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing with you how you can use Trio's tag-based callback mechanism in your static site project. So let me turn to Visual Studio Code as usual. And here in this project, like every project, there's a template that associates with, there's a fragment rather, which we're looking at here, that associates itself with some template, naming the template that it's associating with, here, default HTML. And it has a title. It's contributing a title to the title tag of the page that will be generated, and it's going to append its content to the target tag for the fragment, which is a main data tag here. In the project, I've also added a JSON data file to the data folder. And here we can see it's got numerous properties: avatar, first name, last name, address, city, state, zip code. And the avatar, in this case, is a reference to, names a image file in the media folder right here. And the other values are just filling out, the values for their related properties. So first name is Jane, last name is Doe, blah, 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 blah. It's a JSON data file. The project also has a JavaScript callback. And this is where things get really interesting with Trio. So, what is this callback? Well, first of all, it's a node module, so we have to export the function. And the function is declaring two arguments, or two properties. It has a $tag property and a site property. And the $tag property is a Cheerio wrapper around whatever tag is going to call this. And we'll show you how we do that in a moment. If you have ever used jQuery, then you will have no problem using Cheerio, because Cheerio is a server-based implementation of jQuery's selector API. So Cheerio exposes a jQuery-like selector API. And what else? It has a site property, and the site property is a property that has other properties, and each of those properties are metadata. So site is a collection of all the metadata that Trio passes to your callback. There are other properties that are available to callbacks as well, but in this case, I'm only destructuring two out of the single property that Trio passes to all callbacks. There are other properties that you can also use, but in this case, we only need these two to satisfy what we're trying to do here. So how are we using these properties? Well, here I create a constant, CD, I'm named it CD, and off of the site property, there's a data catalog property. And the data catalog property has its own properties, and each property in the data catalog property is a name of a file that Trio finds in the data folder of your project. So in this case, it has a property for contact info, which points to here. So the CD actually references now in the callback this object. So that's what the CD constant is for. And now we're using the $tag Cheerio wrapper, which will wrap whatever tag we select that to declare the callback, and we're going to append these tags to the tag that's actually calling, or the wrapper, the tag that this wraps around, the actual physical tag. So let's do that now. So let me go back to the fragment page, and we're going to use this article tag as the callback. So $tag in the callback itself will be a wrapper around this tag. So here, data trio callback, that will expand to data trio callback. And here we're just going to name it contact info. We don't need to add .js because it's a callback. It can only be GS, so just Trio just assumes it's contact info. You can add it if you want, but you can leave it out. You can omit it. So here, it matches this contact info name of the file, of the callback module, contact info rather, and contact info. So let's see what happens now when we build the project. There we have the generated page. And we have the avatar, which is this. And it's so excited that we're saying hello to it, it's shaking all over. It's just so happy. And we have the concatenated first name space last name. We have the street address. We have the city. We have the state. And we have the zip code. Everything that we see on this page was pulled from this JSON file by the callback. So all these fields, all these tags rather, were propagated in the callback and then appended to whatever tag the $tag was wrapping. At the top of the file, at the top of the callback module, I've also created some front matter using JavaScript opening and closing line comments. And I added a data dependencies property. And what this does is it tells Trio that anytime the contact info.json file is changed, you need to rerun the build of the project because this callback module needs to be called so that the page is refreshed with the current data in the changed JSON file. If I excluded that and I made a change to the JSON file while incremental build was running in the terminal, Trio would not know that there was a correlation between this file and the fragment. I'm sorry, and the JSON data file. So here we're using front matter to trigger a build when the JSON data file is changed. And the reason this is necessary is because Trio cannot intrinsically determine the dependency between the data file itself and the callback module. And by adding this front matter, we're explicitly telling, or explaining to Trio that this is the dependency. I love that. So that is what, or that rather, that is how and why we use you use Trio's callback mechanism in your projects. And in future videos, I'll be discussing how we can use the callbacks for other data related additions to your page, either referencing the metadata in a fragment or other metadata specifically really comes into play when you have really sophisticated pages that you want driven by data files as well. I mean, imagine if you had a portfolio and you wanted a landing page in your portfolio somewhere to show, little thumbnails of all the projects that you want to on the page rather. So you can define each project in a single data file, and you can create a callback module that just loops through each entry in that file to create an article or whatever, So I hope that you're understanding how powerful the callback mechanism is in Trio. Much more powerful than using a templating engine, which really limits you and also makes, really it clutters up your markup with, the template engine statements. And it makes your markup hard to read. And this leaves your markup untouched, really. It's, if we look at, again, we look at the fragment, we can see here, we don't see any looping going on in here, So that's the power of Trio's JavaScript callback mechanism. So thank you for joining me again, and I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel and clicking on the little bell when you do so that you'll get notified when I add additional content to the channel. And I look forward to seeing you again soon, because we're going to have more videos about regarding the callback mechanism. And the examples are going to get a little bit more complex. Not really, but I mean, just, showing all the different ways you can use callbacks. And at some point, it won't be part of this series of videos. There'll be a series of videos dedicated to using Trio as a blogging engine. It's really powerful. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.